You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Masters of Sex After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Masters of Sex After Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to our after show. I've got lovely Roya here with me. We're discussing the second episode of the first season of Masters of Sex.
And man, did you guys see the opening for that?
I know, we finally got an opening. I don't know, maybe we missed that last time.
Yeah, I thought it was very Dexterish. Like,
I know.
Did you everything symbolized something, and it was a great. I loved it. I love that. I want to keep seeing that more.
I know.
And more.
I want to watch it again.
Yeah,
we kind of rushed through it to get it started, but yeah, no, it was awesome. What were your thoughts this episode? This is the second episode, so
I really liked this episode. I thought it was a lot better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely got you to see all the characters and how they really are. Virginia, we got to see her motherhood, that kind of stuff. And,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, we were also, I feel like they delved into the characters a lot more.
Yes.
There
was more personality with each one.
In the previews, I didn't think they were going to mention what her decision was because the study had been called off, in the previews. And so I liked seeing all the different versions of how she was going to tell him no. But I was so happy because I feel like if she would have just jumped into that yes, I'll get into this study with you, then it would have kind of blown it a little bit for me.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I was really hoping she would just do it, man up, and just go and do it.
Really?
I did, yeah. Because, like I said in the first last week's episode, I don't see a problem in it.
Well, okay, so your body is set up to receive pleasure, right? Mm-hmm. So there's all these pleasure receptors all over your body. But I feel like it would mess up this study because to go through the 4 stages of what they came to the conclusion, like excitement and stimulation and everything, I think that would have messed it up because if you're not excited about the person, like if you're just, testing it out, like if I just was with someone random that I worked with, I wouldn't be able to lubricate or go through any of the stages like I would normally do,
That's true.
So I think that it would detour, I just think that it would be a bad idea to do that.
I'm very team Virginia and team Dr. Masters. I'm already jumping on that bandwagon. I'm just like, come on, get it there,
I love his wife though, and what a big thing to come out in the second episode about him being the reason that they can't have babies.
Yeah, and making her feel so crappy about it.
Like she doesn't die every day that she feels like she's failed him as a wife, and then know that she think that she's failed him as by being barren. I just can't believe that he's keeping all of this inside.
Yeah.
It kills me. I'm just I want to tweet her, tell her everything. I'm just so I like everything out in the open.
Yeah, and the fact that near the end when she tells him, I don't want to be you to be my doctor, I want Ethan to be my doctor.
Yeah.
And she says, I don't want to fail you as a patient and as a wife. That was just,
exactly.
It's honey, if only you knew.
I know, he's failing you big time.
Shooting blanks over there,
It's so sad. There's so much pressure, in both. Mm-hmm. I feel like women get the brunt of a lot of things, like having periods, having to have children, things like that. But guys, that's one thing that I'm really glad that I don't have to deal with, which is, being a guy, because, we can go through, our refractionary period. We can have sex again right away. But guys have to really, focus on their performance and, getting an erection. There's so many issues with that. So. Yeah. I don't know. What do you that's another topic.
Yeah.
What did you think about the brothel? It moving to a brothel?
That was really creative. People are saying, no, you can't do it. No, sorry, shutting it down. And he thinks, well, I got Betty, which I love Betty.
I love Betty. She is becoming my favorite character.
Yeah.
I love that she blackmails him and pushes him into everything. She's like, I run the show.
Yep. She's very honest in everything she does too.
You were my person. Like, you don't, like, I run this. Like, anything I say goes. And I like that she's using it all for the betterment. Like, she's using it to get a job, and using it to, have children, and all that. So
I was wondering why she wanted to have a job. Why she wanted to work at the hospital.
I know. I was just thinking, just purely, if I was a prostitute forever and then I was like helping this doctor, like, hey,
inspired.
maybe I can capitalize on this situation and get my life on track, but I'm glad she has, I feel like, some of the funniest lines too.
Yes. She's I feel the comic relief in a way.
I know. She's like, I'm not a psychic. Some guy wanted to know if his flowers were like, I'm a psychic.
Yeah. And then we got Virginia, who's a very powerful woman on the show. She's dominating, she's the person, but her presence and everything, even when she's got kids, because you see inside her motherhood style and how she tells the kids, drink your milk, drink your juice.
And how tough it's got to be for her to be a mom during that time period and be raising children alone and be, working, full time and paying for a sitter, and I was so surprised when he fired her. Like, it felt like that was like
that was definitely a male
lashing out.
Like,
a little bit.
manlyhood type thing, trying to get her off, not get her, wrong topic for that, but get her, like, just to kind of put her in her place.
Yeah.
You defied me is what he said.
I know. I don't know if you know it or if you watched. Did you watch the Twilight series? The saga?
Yes. Shamefully, yes, I did. Yeah.
My mom's a huge fan.
Same here. I got pushed to go.
I got pushed. Yeah. I ended up loving him with her. But he is Aro on the Twilight series. Like, his character. What is his name? Michael Sheen is Dr. Masters. Yeah. Yeah, so he was Aro. And so every time he's like, you defied me, I'm like, oh my God, you are not Aro. You're Dr. Masters.
That's why I see red eyes then, huh? Whenever I see him. Okay, I got it.
So funny because I'm like, he's still a vampire. Yeah, he hasn't left that character.
Yeah, same with Ethan. He was I believe he was in the superheroes movie.
Oh, I
so he still plays kind of like the not very
super
powerful.
Dramatic.
He's very too much,
animated.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he fits his character really well too.
Yeah,
Ethan, I don't like him.
I like the way though that he's in a way acting out so bad in the series because just already, he's sleeping with so many different women, trying to, fantasizing about Virginia. He's got this like obsessive infatuation love for her, and I think that can, I don't know, like that kind of infatuation, good sex can do that to you. Like, good sex can make you think twice.
It's sad seeing him that way because it's very heartbreaking, even though I am team Virginia and team Masters. I know there's not really a team, but I'm making one a team. I should make a t-shirt,
or hashtag team Virginia and Masters.
Yeah, exactly. But Ethan, I want him to be with her only because he's being a little pouty, but just the way he's so in love. But then I remember how last week he just like slapped her.
I know. I just don't think that it's love. It's just that infatuation. And, our brain just doesn't deal with rejection very well. And so when we get rejected, your brain just goes on like, autopilot, like get it. Because it just doesn't understand rejection, and then it will push into a depression. So.
Well, you know how they say we want what we can't have.
It's true. It's true. It's sad. It's sad, and it's sad to see someone going through that and acting out like with sex, because I think that's the wrong thing to do.
And he's trying to find that one that will play with him.
I know, but he found somebody that was super kinky, and he was just like,
what was her name? Betty? No, not Betty. I wrote it down. She was just really...
Bernadette, I think, was her name.
Yeah, Bernadette,
that would do anything.
Anything, and she was too aggressive for him, and he couldn't handle it.
Oh, and he was like a no to anal sex. He was like, no, this is fine.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how during the foreplay with him and the other girl, Jane. No, was it Jane? No, I don't know. The girl that he got into bed with her. And she just wanted to have sex. She's like, I'm willing to go all the way. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, why don't you go down? She goes, my mother always told me not to put things in my mouth if I don't know where they've been.
So funny.
Like back then, just kind of now people are all about that. And yet.
Yeah. It's so funny to watch it and to see how different, how much that women and men didn't know. Like, you can even tell with Ethan when he's doing foreplay, she's like, should I go faster or slower with this blowjob? And he was just like, either is fine. Like, he doesn't really know what he's doing either. And so it's just, he's just in a really confused place. And when we see him towards the end kind of just sitting out in front of Virginia's house. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, he's got that little creepiness,
like,
you know?
Creepy.
Yeah. But then it's also kind of interesting to see how back then, before, you know, Masters and Virginia got all the information out about human sexuality, about how lost the world was during then. That's why it's really, I'm really still intrigued by how
I do.
Unfolds.
I mean, I feel like we had so much character development with Dr. Masters, and seeing kind of like that internal struggle that he has with his wife. I mean, he's like, I love you too much, but like won't have sex with her. They sleep in separate beds. Like he's lying to her, and then it's like he takes Ethan off her case, and then wants to move all of her surgeries like at home, like capping her. I don't know what that is. Do
you feel that it's more of a not pride, but kind of he doesn't want to share his toys with Ethan in a way, if I can give it as that example, because he doesn't want her to have Virginia. He doesn't want him to have his wife.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of taken away all of this. And now that he's a young doctor, and they keep saying that he's a better doctor than Masters.
I think that he's acting out because I think that
Masters or Ethan?
I think Masters is acting out because he knows that Ethan's had sex with Virginia. So I think he's like projecting all of this onto Haas, and just making, just trying to, like he can't deal with the amount of jealousy that he's got going on. And so it's just coming out all over the place, with him, I'm taking you off this case, and I know it was for sure you the one that, opened up when he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know who opened up to Scully. Do you know? Do you think about?
Opened up which one?
Like who ratted out the case? Like,
I feel like it might have been one of the nurses, or because they didn't bring in, it was Betty. But Betty was really happy with being with, not Betty, I'm sorry, Jane and Austin when they were together. Yeah. So they were happy together. So I don't think it was them.
I know. I don't know how that happened, but
it has to be someone from the first episode. And thinking back on it, I can't think of anyone that, unless it's Betty. Ooh, it could be Betty though. Betty.
Maybe she got loose lips.
Yeah. No pun. But because his wife didn't know about it until this episode.
I know.
Libby learns about it.
So his wife finding out about, so I mean, it's just so, like, it just makes me think so much, like, what exactly, like, is going through his wife's mind. It's like she's like reaching out to him, Dr. Masters, sexually so much, and he's like turning her down, and then he's at the same time doing this study, and he wouldn't even tell her about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I tell you almost everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know what I would do if I had a husband that turned off, well, I would divorce him. I would never sign a legal document if the sex was bad. But if it got bad later, like, I don't know what I would do if I was her. Like, I'm going to go pick up my husband. He's just been arrested at a cathouse.
Yeah.
Brothel. And he's doing this experiment on sex. He's watching other people have sex, and he will not have sex with me. Like, that messes with people's mind, like, so much.
And she's already messed up by him not, like, really caring for her on the level that she wants to be cared for.
Yeah.
Even when she's getting her fertility stuff done, he won't stick around. He keeps kind of, like, pushing her off, but it's so his case, She tries to make it all romantic for him, and it's not working.
I literally died when I was watching her. Like, she's like, so it sounds like you like to watch. You can watch me have sex, like, with myself. And she started masturbating in front of him, and he was just like, the look of terror in his eyes, like,
but
my God.
Was it a terror look, or was that a look like he wanted it to be someone else? Did you see that in his eyes? There was some part that was like,
something in there that I saw an excitement for like a second, but then he was like, no, I love you too much. And I don't understand that, like,
that line.
I don't understand that line, because I don't.
Confusing.
Yeah, that line where it's like, guys, and this comes a lot from men with religion, a heavy religious background, where it's like they cannot be, they cannot see their wives, this person that they put on this pedestal, in that way. It's like the Virgin Mary, Marilyn Monroe thing, where it's like they can't be sexy and like the perfect wife.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that other people have overcome this and that it's not as big of an issue, but I still think that in religious environments, that's still very prevalent, and that kind of like, I can't be raunchy and dirty and crazy with you, if you're my wife. You know,
which also kind of goes back to Betty when she said she met the pretzel king in church, and she has to be all kind of, that's why she got the job.
Yeah, this guy thinks
trying to get her life together.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much, going on, and then it's like I constantly forget the series, is in a different time, I'm always trying to keep track of that, but I'm just like,
right when she's still in love, like she's a lesbian, she's in love with Helen, and but back like right now I was like, why can't she just be with Helen?
No big deal, but I'm like, gosh, she's a lesbian, and she's
women's rights are still kind of not like, they have rights, but they're very like when Jane was reading a book, The Second Sex, the men thought it was a dirty book. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, what is that? And she just, like, reads a quote to them, and they're just like, what? What does that mean? And it was a very powerful statement that she read to them, and it was just funny. But when she was reading that to them, did you notice that in the hospital, they're smoking cigarettes? All of them. Even the nurses are in the background smoking, and Austin smoking. It's just like, that's an inch. It's like, wow, how different it is now.
And I'm just wondering what kind of like commercials or like advertisements there were for smoking. Like, I would love to see some of them, like, smoking's so cool. Like, was it just a cool factor, or was it like this relieves stress? Or
well, either way, they're in a hospial smoking cigarettes. They obviously don't know what happens with lighting and gas and stuff. Must not be that important.
No. Who do you feel like we learned the most about this episode?
I feel like Virginia. Definitely. Just because you never, like, I keep going back because I'm tangled here. Tangled. We, like I keep saying about the motherhood, you don't really see that side of her. You just see her like, hey, this is my job. I'm here. I know it's only episode number 2. Yeah. But she loved her kids, but it got to a point where she had to choose kids or her job. And even though a job's great, she can get a job probably somewhere else doing, like,
I know. I feel like she kind of chose the job.
Yeah. And when the babysitter, the new one, said that they read the comic book.
I know. I was like, how sad was that? I died a little bit. I'm like, gosh.
But at the same time, you're kind of like, that's your fault. You should have been there. You should have. Even the kid made a comment to her before he rolled over to go to sleep about not being there, and it's always
and her
something.
Saying he's like, it's complicated.
Yeah.
I'm like, this poor little kid. Like, I wonder if kids really say things that well thought out,
Yeah. Well, my niece definitely does say a lot of random
kids pick stuff up. I mean, kids really pick things up. I thought that comic, was it a comic? Yeah. I'm curious to see if that was actually a real comic, because I want to see, like, I want to read it if it was.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to, like, look it up before we hopped on here to see if, I think it was Race to Space was it was related to the comic book. I think the title of our episode was also.
Well, the Race to Space, so it was about this guy giving everything up for, like, the search of the moon and wondering if all of it would be worth it when he got there. Would it be worth everything that he had left behind? And so, like, he's just like, I think that's a really interesting tie-in, using the children's comic book to kind of tie in with Virginia. Like, she's giving up time with her kids. She's giving up, it sounds like she's okay with doing the study now towards the end of the episode. And she's giving up her morals, her ethics, her, what she believes in for this study, for this job, for Dr. Masters. Yeah. Will it be worth it in the end? She's already, got other people reading to her son and finishing, the comic book. And I thought that was really interesting. And, especially in life, you give up all sorts of things to, get to wherever you're going with your career or this. And it's like, gosh, will it all be worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no way. Nobody's a psychic,
Yep, definitely. And even Dr. Master says it in the car when he drops her off. Even it was a dick comment to say. But when he's like, I can't tell the future. I can't predict the future. Yeah, if you're going to have your job, basically.
You can have your job. You have your job tomorrow. I can't tell the future.
Yeah, and so it's kind of, great.
I know. I wonder
he was doing well and then did that.
I wonder what attracts him so much to, I really wonder, I hope that goes into it, what really gets him about this study, like why he's so interested in it. I mean, like, I know that he wants to understand why people have children. Yeah. Like he studies, the reproductive system, but I'm just curious what really drives him. I mean, it is kind of interesting that he's like he's taken on a voyeuristic role in that he's watching all these people have sex, which, I think is really neat myself, but I'm not a doctor though. That's just for fun.
Yeah.
But you know.
When he was talking to Virginia, telling her to go to Betty and get her tubes, like, don't let her get her tubes untied. That was kind of interesting because he goes, kids, you know, you have kids, tell her why she shouldn't have it. But the whole time he's trying to have a kid with his wife. So in a way, I don't even think he wants kids.
I think that he thinks that Betty would be an unfit mother. Like that.
You think that's what it is? You don't think it's a subconscious way of him expressing that he doesn't want kids or at least doesn't feel like they're, I don't know, because maybe it's just what at that time they have to do.
Yeah, I feel like he was basically telling her that because, like, you have kids, you understand how hard it is, you know, like, you tell her why she shouldn't because she's, like, not capable. He told her, he goes, he told Betty flat out, like, that's insane.
Yeah.
He flat out told her that she had no qualifications at all to work for the hospital, you know? Like, he just, I don't know. He's not a little ray of sunshine.
No, he's not. Who was your character that you thought you learned a lot?
I actually think it was Dr. Masters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the biggest bomb in this episode was finding out that he has no sperm count. You know, like that his sperm count's really low.
Yeah.
And just seeing, like, I feel like men are selfish. And, not to a detriment, I just feel like women give so much more. You see how, like, his wife is, like, so catering and so, like, I want to figure this out. I'll do so many things, you know, and I feel like men are just so, like, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I just think that's terribly selfish to leave that on his wife and knowing she's so unhappy.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Such a dick move. No pun intended.
Yeah, and to see him fantasize about Virginia.
That was awesome. I gotta say, that fantasy of his, that sold me. That whole delivery of Virginia when she came in and she told him, I believed it. I thought it was legit.
I know.
And I was really hoping it was.
Yeah, so having him, fantasize about Virginia so much, it was neat to see. Like, there's definitely a layer of fantasies. I mean, it was Ethan fantasizing about Virginia, and then it was, Dr. Masters, fantasizing about her, saying yes, which makes me think that this isn't all just for the study, and him, when she was telling him at the end that he was deliberately letting her hang there, that's exactly, like, he's got so much internal, he's got such an internal fight going on inside that it's like, I wonder what is really going on. Is it just that he just wants to have sex with Virginia? Like, is it an emotional thing? Is it that he can relate to her intellectually? They share this great thing in common, their interest in figuring sex out. What is it? Like, I can't tell if it's just sex or if it's an infatuation or if he thinks that she's just, everyone seems to think she's, like, remarkably beautiful, and I think she's very pretty, but guys are losing their marbles all over the place for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like maybe somehow he hasn't, I know he's had sex with his wife, but I don't think he's ever really made love with his wife or any woman where it was on an intimate count. And I feel that maybe once the studies happen, it's going to happen then. I know I'm just kind of throwing it out there in the future, but jumping ahead there. Sorry. I just got really excited for how I can see them
connecting.
Yeah.
I think it will be really neat. I mean, obviously, at some point, I think they're building him to be, like, such a hard character and it's like, nobody can penetrate me. I've got no feelings, like, and just so stoic.
Yeah.
That I think, there's so much to soften up there, and delve into that emotional side of him. And so I think that will be really interesting. I feel like learning that about him and then just him talking to his wife and then him taking Ethan out of the equation with her and then him wanting to, I don't understand why he wanted to bring, like, all of her procedures at home. Like, does he just not even want her around Virginia? Because
that could be it. That really could be.
Yeah,
seeing them together or talking.
Yeah.
Because didn't he push her out last episode when she came in and Libby first met Virginia?
Yeah.
And he goes, Virginia, like, there's something you gotta go do. And then he left.
Because she was like, I like your wife. And,
Huh.
I don't know. They say that women say 30,000 words a day and men only say about 10,000.
I believe that.
And so I'm always like, why are we cursed? Like, I'm like super communicator, you know, like I'm just, you know, it's so, I would be so unbelievably frustrated with someone like Dr. Masters. I mean, there's just like, what is going on? Can you start journaling? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. You know what he would do if they had cell phones then and he was texting? He'd be the one that'd be like, okay, you write this whole long paragraph. Okay, so we need to do this. And okay. Like, that would be his response. Or he wouldn't respond. He would be one of those guys, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be very frustrating, but he would be. Hopefully one time he will text back more than just K.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So another relationship, Jane and Austin. Do you think that's going to go anywhere?
You know, it's so hard because it was so interesting to see him say, you know, well, we don't have to have sex like just in the study. We can have it otherwise. And she was like, no, that was just for the study. You're married. And to kind of see how that plays, you know, in the time that, you know, also the time period, you know, like, you know, men cheating, you know. I mean, obviously it happened a lot, but just on so much more of a discreet level, you know. So
do you think Jane, well, obviously it was, I
don't think Jane's gonna fold.
I feel like she's got feelings for him, but she's very stiff with what she said to him while he's married.
Yeah, I think she was like, get out of here. Like, that was what it was for. Like, you know, I think she was really excited about it, and excited to have, you know, I think the study would work really great for them because they are really, you know, there is this flirtation, you know, like I think it's hard to, you know, take a relationship from friends to lovers, you know, because you're missing that piece. And that's why I think that his study, you know, professional, like you can't, you know, take in a professional relationship where you just see that person professionally into like this sexual thing. Like you can't force it if there's not that natural chemistry there.
True. But remember, the whole point is that not supposed to have couples. So it would have to be forced in a way. Because remember, that's the whole reason the board people don't want is, well, you need to not have couples be a...
Oh, I thought they just didn't want two people together at all during the study. I didn't know that it was just for couples.
I assumed it meant like couples, but maybe
like in a relationship.
Yeah, but maybe I was completely wrong. Then maybe you're right. You could be more. I'm gonna lean towards you on that.
I think.
Can we rewind that and delete what I just said? And
I didn't think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just for, you know, they didn't want two people because it sounds more dangerous to see someone, you know, masturbating than you know, like that seems safer than watching two people actually have sex. You know, like. Yeah. I would have loved to be like a scientist during this time.
Like watching people?
Yeah. I'm totally a little voyeuristic. I love that. Love it. I'm a yes to that.
Being in the closet, like hiding like Masters
I would be the best peephole watcher ever. I would be like, guys, I got it under control. I would be very quiet. Pay attention.
And on that note, no, I'm just kidding.
I know. I think their testing would be a lot better if they were watching natural environments, like doing more of a peephole, like
like just random people coming in.
Yeah, random people that were actually
like
together.
Johns.
Yeah,
the Johns that they're trying to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved when Dr. Masters was examining Dottie, I believe it was. And she goes, it's a brain tumor. It's a brain tumor.
Oh my gosh, how funny was that? Yeah. She's like, headaches.
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Yeah. And then he puts the glasses. Oh my God.
He's like, no, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
You just needed glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
It was a nice way to see him kind of too lighten up a little bit.
I know, and how funny for like even prostitutes during that time. She's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Do you want a blowjob on the house?"
And he just like giggles, and he's like, "Wait, no, thanks."
Just to see, I love seeing him squirm in situations like that. He was like, no, but you're welcome, but no, not necessary."
I definitely believe that they casted the right guy for this role, and how awkward and weird he's supposed to be. In the situations, you know? Yeah.
I loved him so much. He was my favorite character in the Twilight series. I was never an Edward or a Jacob fan, but I was an Aro fan. And so I'm like...
Wasn't he only in it for like 10 minutes at most?
But it was his... I mean, he, to me, had the best lines, and he was like above all. Like, it was like the Volturi. Like, I just think he did such a good job. They did cast him well because he's like, you defied me. And I'm like, yeah, but we're not in the Volturi anymore. Like, it's okay. Like, there is a sense of extra drama in this, you know, the delivery, I feel like, of a lot of these lines.
Oh, definitely.
I don't mind it. I'm okay with it. Let's take it.
So he made an expression to her, though, to Dottie, don't borrow trouble.
I don't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Do you?
No,
like,
I was
don't.
trying to...
No, I don't.
Yeah, I was really hoping.
Don't borrow trouble.
Phil, do you know what that means?
Sorry, what is it?
Don't borrow trouble. Have you heard that phrase?
Don't borrow trouble. I kind of know what it means, but not too much. I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I feel like in context, like don't borrow trouble.
I mean, like
don't take on unneeded. Don't take on an unneeded.
Yeah, something like that. Like don't you know what I mean? If something's gonna be a hassle, don't do it.
Don't unnecessarily put yourself in situations you don't need to be in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll throw it out there.
Borrow trouble. I know. I wrote that down too. I was like,
yeah. Now I'm gonna go around and just say that to people. Like when in Rome, just randomly say it. Don't borrow trouble.
Yeah.
But
I think it's really funny that Virginia got rid of all of those receptionists.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, HR just had a slow day and just sent all those receptionists home, and then took the last one. She was like, hey, the position has been filled, but do you think how do you feel about children? I think you would be really good with children.
Yeah. That was a smart move on her part.
I know. She's so strategic. She's got to be. I feel like she's, carrying such a rough load, being, a little singleton raising children. And I thought her son was so cute when he got in trouble and then just sat and waited for her all day.
So patient. I don't think I've ever seen a kid
do that.
Yeah.
Never, ever seen a kid just sit all day, especially without an iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had his comic book, so he was good with that for a little bit,
Yeah.
He just laying there on the bench and perfect view for her to keep an eye on him. It was cool. Yeah, it worked out. But yeah.
Are we ready for predictions?
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. Okay, so what do you think's what were we in store? We missed the preview, so I didn't get to see it. I love the previews, by the way.
Yeah. Let's see. For next week, I feel like Virginia and Dr. Masters are gonna get a little bit intimate.
Closer?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
So soon?
I think something's either a kiss or something very close that you wouldn't see Dr. Masters do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that Ethan and Libby, his wife, Dr. Masters' wife, something's going to happen between them too. I feel like that.
Between Libby and Ethan?
Mm-hmm. I feel like Ethan's going to do something to get back at Masters once he finds out something might be, or in his mind might be going on between him and Virginia. That's my prediction. I don't know if it's going to happen next episode, but soon.
Okay, I think that, I don't know. I think that Virginia's definitely going to have a job. I think she's going to be able to keep her job. But they've got to throw a wrench in there somewhere. So, I don't know. Maybe a kiss or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I do, on her side for right now, I do kind of just see her with Dr. Masters. Like, I see her interest as just professional. Like, I feel like she's in awe of him, and she thinks he's really smart, and she wants to be a part of it. I don't know that she wants to, like, jump his bones, though. Like, I don't get that. I don't get so much sexual tension between them. I think especially with her answer being a no. Yeah. And I'm so glad she is such a strong character, like standing her ground. She's got to be strong for what she's going through. So, standing her ground, saying no to him, that's a hard position to be in. Yep. And then raising the kids and, working late hours, So
maybe she'll see something in him that will trigger the emotions to happen for her.
He's going to have to do something. He's going to have to soften up a little bit. You can't just
bow tie.
be hard all the time. You've got to find that. I can't wait to see softer moments with him. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm excited for next week, for sure.
Less Aro, more Dr. Masters.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, so much. Please comment below and let us know what you thought about this. And then also make sure to catch it on iTunes as well and let us know there so we know we're giving a good scoop.
Yep. And you can follow me on Twitter at HeyRoya.
All right. And I'm at Jenna Time Tweets.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.